Welcome to this explainer. Okay, let's dive into this. Today, we're exploring the life and methods of a truly fascinating 19th century figure. He tackled a problem that is, honestly, incredibly relevant to our hyper-connected modern lives. We're going to look at a man who didn't just want to blindly believe in the divine, he literally demanded to experience it for himself. It's a pretty provocative question, isn't it? What if the absolute biggest mistake we make about spirituality, or philosophy for that matter, is that we just talk about it way too much? I mean, in our modern world, we absolutely love consuming content. We read books about inner peace, we hoard quotes from wise philosophers on our phones, and we constantly argue about beliefs. But how often do we actually stop and ask ourselves, wait, am I actually experiencing what these people were talking about? It all boils down to this one core truth. Information is not transformation. You can read 1,000 books about swimming. You can study the fluid dynamics of water and memorize the exact techniques of Olympic athletes. But eventually, you have to get into the water. And yes, I fully recognize the total irony that you are currently watching an explainer to learn this exact lesson. But honestly, it's the perfect setup for the mindset of the man we're discussing today. Section 1. The ultimate spiritual experiment, moving from passive belief to active discovery. So we're looking at Ramakrishna Paramahamsa, who was born in India in 1836. He treated the longing for something greater not as just some passive faith, but as a rigorous, almost dangerous empirical experiment. Think about it. Most of us just inherit our beliefs, right? We passively adopt whatever our family or culture tells us is true. But Ramakrishna essentially said, okay, fine, but have you actually experienced it? This brilliantly illustrates the radical shift from passive belief, theory, and argument directly into experiment, practice, and lived experience. Just imagine two people arguing over whether honey is sweet. Who actually has the stronger evidence? The person who read 20 different books about honey, or the person who just grabbed a spoon and tasted it? Ramakrishna's entire methodology was simply that. Just taste it. He demanded direct, active experience over any kind of intellectual debate. Section 2. The Psychology of Attention. From 19th century devotion to 21st century distraction. Let's fast forward from 19th century devotion straight into the harsh reality of our 21st century minds. Smartphones, endless push notifications, short videos, infinite social media feeds. AI algorithms actively pulling at our brains, 24-hour streaming entertainment. Our modern minds are constantly, relentlessly pulled outward. We're literally, visually, and mentally overwhelmed on a daily basis. If Ramakrishna were to walk into our modern world today and look at how we live, he might deliver this exact hard-hitting diagnosis. You wanted one thing intensely. Congratulations, you now want 4,000 things simultaneously. This explains perfectly why we struggle so much with inner peace. Our desires are just entirely fractured. So, what's his solution to all this noise? It's radically simple though, definitely not easy. Concentrate. The principle here is that what you repeatedly give your attention to literally becomes psychologically important to you. If you constantly check your phone, your brain learns that checking the phone is vital for survival. Ramakrishna practiced severe attention training. By intentionally redirecting your focus away from random impulses and toward a single chosen ideal, you are essentially rewiring your brain. Section 3. The Ego and the Ice. Seeking unity beneath the illusion of separation. This intense emphasis on focus takes us directly into his deeper philosophical discoveries. See, Ramakrishna didn't just stick to one single tradition to train his attention. He personally explored and practiced different forms of Hinduism, tantric disciplines, Islam, and Christianity. And from this massive multi-faith experimentation, he completely dismantled the human habit of religious tribalism. He concluded that ultimate truth can absolutely be approached through entirely different languages and landscapes. As he famously put it, as many faiths, so many paths. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this beautiful metaphor he used to explain the concept. He compared ultimate reality to water, formless, vast, totally fluid. But through human devotion and specific traditions, that exact same reality takes a particular form, like ice. It's the exact same underlying substance, just taking a different shape.
The symbols, the concepts, the personal forms, they're just doorways. The big mistake we make is confusing the doorway with the destination itself.
And what constantly gets in the way of us seeing this unity? Well, it's the ego. Psychologically speaking, the ego isn't just about arrogance. It's this incredibly strong, rigid identification with the thought, I am this person. It's my status, my opinions, my reputation. And this creates massive suffering for us. We become so deeply rigid in these identities that when someone insults us or, just doesn't reply to a text message, we react as if human civilization itself has literally collapsed.
Section 4, the Ramakrishna Method, a step-by-step framework for 21st century transformation.
So, how do we actually fix this? We can distill his entire life's experiment into an actionable, step-by-step framework for today. Let's walk through it. Step 1. Choose your highest value. Pick something higher than just temporary pleasure. Step 2. Practice it. Stop hoarding spiritual content and actually do the work. Step 3. Train your attention. Sit quietly, focus, and when your mind wanders, bring it back. Let's move to and see how this builds. Step 4. Question your ego. When you get emotionally disturbed, ask yourself what identity is actually being threatened. Step 5. Respect other paths. Maintain some humility. And finally, Step 6. Turn experience into character, because dedicated practice must ultimately result in you becoming a better, more compassionate human being.
Section 5. The Modern Ramakrishna Test, an introspective interrogation before sleep.
To make this deeply personal, let's just slow down for a second and sit with a few introspective questions. Question 1. What am I giving most of my attention to? Seriously, look at your daily habits. Let the heavy reality of our modern digital distractions really sink in for a moment. Where's your mind actually spending its time?
Question 2. What desire controls me the most? You've got to be brutally honest with yourself here. Try to identify the true, often completely hidden, driving forces behind your everyday behaviors.
Next up, which identity makes me most defensive? Locate exactly where your ego is the most fragile. Where are you most easily threatened by the outside opinions of others?
And this one is particularly tough. What spiritual or philosophical principle do I understand but not practice? Feel that uncomfortable gap between the concepts you intellectually hoard and your actual lived experience. Finally, the ultimate test of authenticity. If I genuinely lived according to what I claim to believe, what would change tomorrow morning? Because true philosophy, it demands a radical change in your daily action.
The most important question isn't, what do I believe? It is, what does my life prove that I believe? Our repetitive actions, the way we spend our time, the way we treat other people, those are the only true, empirical evidence of our core beliefs. We'll leave you with this final poetic call to action. You can read about the ocean forever. You can study all the maps and memorize the tides. But don't confuse the map with the journey. At some point, you literally have to put down your devices, step into the water, and taste the salt. Direct experience is everything. So what step will you take today to stop merely talking about your path and start actually walking it?